In a time veiled by the mists of forgotten centuries, where the whispers of the cosmos were woven into the very tapestry of existence, there lay a world where the stars were more than distant fires in the night sky. They were the silent witnesses to the lives and loves, the triumphs and tragedies of those who dared to seek their guidance. This was a realm where the celestial and the terrestrial intertwined, a place where the ancient art of astrology held sway over the hearts and minds of those who sought to decipher the cryptic messages written in the heavens. Amidst this world of celestial wonder, there were women of remarkable insight and intuition, those who chose to embrace the cosmic dance with fervor and dedication. Yet, as with all stories spun from the threads of human endeavor, there were those who veered from the path of wisdom, their practices tainted by the allure of power and the shadow of ignorance. In a village nestled at the edge of a vast forest, where the trees whispered secrets to the stars, there lived a woman named Alicia. Her eyes held the depths of midnight, and her voice was a soft melody that could soothe even the most restless of hearts. She was known for her enchanting presence, a woman who walked with the grace of moonlight and spoke with the conviction of one who had danced among the stars. Alicia had devoted her life to the study of astrology, finding solace and purpose in the ancient charts that mapped the skies. Her practice was grounded in a deep reverence for the celestial bodies, and her readings were sought by those who desired insight into their futures, comfort in their sorrows, and guidance through the labyrinthine paths of life. Yet, despite her noble intentions, there were practices she employed that would later be whispered about in cautionary tales, the lessons of which were etched into the annals of history. Her first misstep lay in the realm of prediction, a delicate art that required both intuition and restraint. Alicia believed that her understanding of the stars granted her the power to foresee the unfolding of events with unerring accuracy. However, in her eagerness to provide certainty, she often overlooked the fluid nature of fate, the ever-shifting dance between destiny and free will. Her readings, once filled with hope and possibility, began to sow seeds of fear and anxiety among those who sought her counsel. One autumn, under the glow of a particularly dazzling harvest moon, a young woman named Isolde came to Alicia, her heart heavy with the weight of uncertainty. She spoke of a love lost to the tides of war, a future adrift in the sea of the unknown. Alicia, with her charts spread before her and her mind attuned to the celestial symphony, proclaimed with unwavering certainty that Isolde's beloved would return with the first breath of spring. The words, though spoken with sincerity, were a promise the stars had not made. As the seasons turned and the earth was cloaked in the white shroud of winter, Isolde clung to the hope Alicia had kindled. Yet, when spring arrived, her beloved did not. The promise unfulfilled became a wound that festered, and the village began to murmur of the astrologer's folly, of the dangers of claiming knowledge that was never truly theirs to possess. The second of Alicia's practices that would be woven into the tapestry of cautionary tales was her attempt to manipulate the stars' influence through ritual. Believing that she could alter the course of events by appealing to the celestial powers, she devised elaborate ceremonies, weaving together the elements of earth, air, fire, and water in hopes of bending fate to her will. Her intentions, though born of a desire to aid those in need, were a hubris that did not go unnoticed by the cosmos. In the midst of a year marked by drought and hardship, Alicia sought to summon rain through a ritual of her own design. She gathered the village under a sky heavy with clouds, her voice rising in incantation, her hands tracing patterns in the air. Yet the rain did not come, and the earth remained parched, the fields barren. Her failure was a testament to the limits of human power, a reminder that the stars, though distant and silent, held their own counsel. The final and perhaps most grievous of Alicia's missteps was her belief in the superiority of her own wisdom, a conviction that led her to dismiss the voices of others who shared her path. In her pursuit of knowledge, she had isolated herself, viewing her insights as infallible and her methods as beyond reproach. This arrogance blinded her to the value of collaboration, to the richness that could be found in the sharing of ideas and the melding of perspectives. It was during a gathering of astrologers, a rare occasion where those who walked the starlit path came together to share their knowledge, that Alicia's isolation became her undoing. She presented her findings with an air of infallibility, her voice confident as she dismissed the insights of her peers. Yet her certainty was met with skepticism, her theories challenged by those who saw the flaws in her reasoning. It was a humbling moment, one that forced her to confront the limitations of her understanding and the folly of her solitary pursuit. Despite these missteps, the story of Alicia is not one of villainy, but of the complex dance between human aspiration and the mysteries of the cosmos. Her practices, though misguided, were born of a genuine desire to connect with the celestial, to find meaning in the patterns of the stars. Her journey is a testament to the power of humility, a reminder that even the most well-intentioned paths can veer into shadow when we forget the lessons of interconnectedness and the wisdom of the collective. And so, as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the village, Alicia stood beneath the vast expanse of the night sky, her heart open to the lessons the stars had to teach. She breathed in the cool air, her spirit attuned to the whispers of the cosmos, and vowed to walk a path of humility and openness, to seek wisdom not just in the heavens, but in the voices of those who shared her journey. In this realm where the celestial and the terrestrial intertwined, the story of Alicia became a part of the village's lore, a tale told in hushed tones by the fireside, a lesson woven into the fabric of the community's understanding. It was a reminder that the stars, though powerful and mysterious, were not to be commanded, but respected, their guidance a gift to be cherished with reverence and gratitude. The night enveloped the village like a silken shroud, the air buzzing with the soft hum of crickets and the occasional rustle of leaves in the gentle breeze. The stars, ancient and wise, blinked down upon the world, their light a tapestry of stories waiting to be unraveled. Alicia, with her heart newly open to humility, felt the weight of their gaze, both comforting and profound. As the days passed, the village grew accustomed to Alicia's presence among them. Her reputation as an astrologer, once clouded by hubris, began to transform. No longer did she stand apart, a figure of authority and mystery. Instead, she became a part of the village's pulse, her wisdom a thread woven into the communal fabric. In the quiet moments of dawn, when the world was bathed in soft hues of pink and gold, Alicia would find herself drawn to the river that meandered through the village. Its waters sang a gentle song, a melody of continuity and change, of the passage of time. She would sit at its banks, her fingers trailing through the cool, clear water, feeling the life that thrummed beneath its surface. It was here, in these serene moments, that she sought the counsel of the stars, not as a solitary seeker, but as one voice among many. The villagers, too, found solace in these early hours. They would gather by the river, their voices a murmur of life and laughter, their faces lit by the soft glow of the rising sun. Alicia would join them, her heart lightened by the simple joys of shared stories and dreams. It was in these moments that she learned the true art of astrology, not in isolation, but in the embrace of community, where each star was a beacon of collective hope and wisdom. In the evenings, as the village settled into a gentle rhythm of rest, Alicia would take to the fields, her feet bare against the earth, her senses attuned to the world around her. She would raise her eyes to the night sky, her mind a quiet canvas, ready to receive the celestial messages. The stars, once distant and enigmatic, now felt like old friends, their presence a comforting constant in the ever-changing tapestry of life. One particular night, as the moon cast its silvery glow over the land, Alicia found herself drawn to the edge of the village, where the forest met the open fields. The trees whispered secrets in the language of rustling leaves, their branches swaying gently in the night breeze. Here, at the threshold of the known and the unknown, Alicia felt a deep connection to the world, a sense of belonging that transcended time and space. As she stood there, a figure appeared from the shadows, stepping into the moonlight with a grace that spoke of wisdom and age. It was Aura, the village elder, her eyes gleaming with the light of 1,000 stars. Aura moved with the fluidity of one who had walked many paths, her presence a calming anchor in the swirling currents of existence. "Ah, Alicia," Aura said, her voice a soft melody, "you have learned much, and yet..." The journey of learning is one without end. Alicia nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude. I have come to understand that wisdom is not a destination, but a journey shared with others. Aura smiled, a gentle curve that spoke of understanding and acceptance. Indeed, the stars teach us of cycles, of beginnings and endings, but also of the spaces in between. It is in these spaces that we find our true selves, connected to the earth and the cosmos. Together, they stood beneath the vast sky, their hearts united in silent communion. The stars, a canopy of light, shimmered above them, their presence a testament to the boundless beauty and mystery of the universe. As the night deepened, Alicia felt a profound sense of peace, a quiet assurance that she was exactly where she needed to be. The lessons of humility, of interconnectedness, had transformed her, guiding her back to the essence of her craft. No longer did she seek to control the stars, to bend them to her will. Instead, she listened to their whispers, allowing their wisdom to flow through her, a conduit for the truths they imparted. The village, too, felt the shift in Alicia's presence. Her readings, once tinged with an air of authority and detachment, now resonated with empathy and understanding. She spoke not just of individual destinies, but of the collective journey, weaving each person's story into the larger tapestry of life. The villagers, in turn, embraced her with open hearts, their trust and respect rekindled by her newfound humility. Alicia's transformation was not just a personal journey, but a catalyst for change within the community. The villagers began to see the stars not as distant arbiters of fate, but as guides and companions, their light a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. The night sky, once a realm of mystery and fear, became a source of comfort and inspiration, its beauty a balm for the soul. The stories of women who had practiced astrology before her, those who had faltered and fallen into the shadows of their own making, served as a reminder of the delicate balance between power and humility. Alicia honored their journeys, understanding that each misstep, each moment of darkness, was a lesson to be learned and shared. With each passing day, Alicia's presence in the village grew stronger, her wisdom a guiding light in the lives of those around her. She became a beacon of hope and understanding, her heart open to the lessons of the stars and the voices of the people. Her journey, once marked by solitude and ambition, had transformed into a path of unity and grace, a testament to the enduring power of humility and love. As the seasons turned, the village thrived, its spirit nourished by the lessons of the stars and the wisdom of its people. The stories of Alicia, of her journey from isolation to interconnectedness, became a cherished part of the village's lore, a reminder of the beauty and mystery that lay in the spaces between the stars. And so, beneath the vast expanse of the night sky, Alicia stood as a bridge between the celestial and the terrestrial, her heart open to the endless possibilities of the universe. The stars, ancient and eternal, watched over her, their light a beacon of hope and wisdom, guiding her steps along the path of humility and love. In the gentle embrace of twilight, as the sky shifted from azure to indigo, Alicia found herself wandering along the meandering paths of her thoughts, her heart attuned to the whispers of the universe. The village, nestled in the cradle of the valley, lay quiet beneath a canopy of stars, each twinkling light a reminder of the infinite stories woven through the fabric of the cosmos. Alicia's presence had become a soothing balm to the villagers, a testament to the harmony that could be found when one listened deeply to the rhythms of the world. Her journey had not been a solitary one. It was a tapestry threaded with the lives and dreams of others, each encounter a constellation in the vast sky of her experience. The people, once strangers, were now kin, united by the celestial stories she shared and the earthly wisdom she gleaned from their lives. The village square, once a place of mundane gatherings, had transformed into a sacred space of learning and sharing. It was here that Alicia often sat, her presence as constant as the stars themselves, weaving tales of the heavens into the everyday lives of her neighbors. She spoke of constellations and their myths, of planets and their wanderings, her voice a gentle melody that filled the night air. Her words painted pictures of ancient times, of goddesses and warriors, of love and betrayal, each story a thread connecting the villagers to the vastness beyond their simple lives. Alicia's practice, once rooted in rigid tradition, had evolved into an organic dance of intuition and insight. She no longer relied solely on charts and calculations, but instead opened herself to the whispers of the wind, the rustle of leaves, the subtle shifts in the air. She understood now that the stars, while fixed in their paths, were part of a living, breathing universe, and that true wisdom lay in the ability to listen, to adapt, and to grow. Her transformation had not gone unnoticed. Travelers from distant lands came to see the woman whose heart was as open as the sky, whose wisdom was as deep as the ocean. They brought with them tales of other lands, other skies, enriching the village's tapestry with new threads of color and texture. Alicia welcomed them all, her spirit a vessel of endless curiosity and compassion. One moonlit night, a stranger arrived, her arrival heralded by the soft pad of hooves on the cobblestone streets. She was a woman of striking presence, her eyes reflecting the depths of the night sky, her aura a blend of mystery and power. Her name was Lyra, and she was known far and wide as a master astrologer, her knowledge of the stars second to none. Lyra had heard of Alicia's journey, of her transformation from a solitary seeker to a beloved guide, and she was intrigued. She watched from the shadows as Alicia wove her stories, her heart touched by the gentle wisdom that flowed from the young woman's lips. When the crowd had dispersed, leaving the square bathed in the soft glow of starlight, Lyra approached Alicia, her presence as quiet as a breeze. "Alicia," she said, her voice a low, melodic murmur, "I have traveled far to see you, to learn from you. Your journey has touched many, and I am eager to hear your story." Alicia looked at Lyra, sensing the strength and wisdom that radiated from her. She nodded, a soft smile playing on her lips. "I would be honored to share my journey with you, Lyra. Please, sit with me, and let us talk beneath the stars." And so, under the watchful gaze of the night sky, the two women sat together, their words weaving a tapestry of friendship and understanding. Alicia spoke of her past, of the mistakes she had made, the lessons she had learned, and the love that had transformed her life. Lyra listened, her heart open and accepting, her mind eager to learn from this woman whose journey mirrored her own in many ways. As the night deepened, the conversation flowed like a gentle river, winding through the valleys of their shared experiences. Lyra shared her own stories, tales of distant lands and ancient traditions, of the challenges she had faced and the wisdom she had gained. Together, they explored the mysteries of the universe, their voices a harmonious duet that sang of hope, of possibility, and of the endless beauty that lay in the spaces between the stars. In each other they found kindred spirits, and their friendship blossomed like a flower in the light of the moon. Lyra, once a solitary wanderer, found in Alicia a companion, a sister whose heart beat in rhythm with her own. Alicia, whose journey had been marked by solitude, discovered in Lyra a guide, a mentor whose wisdom deepened her understanding of the world. Together, they embarked on a journey of exploration and discovery, their paths intertwined like the constellations above. They traveled to distant lands, sharing their stories and learning from the people they met. They listened to the songs of the winds, the whispers of the trees, the secrets of the stones, each encounter a thread in the ever-expanding tapestry of their lives. As the years passed, the village flourished, its spirit a reflection of the harmony and love that Alicia and Lyra embodied. The stories of their journey, of their friendship, became woven into the fabric of the community, a testament to the power of connection, of understanding, and of the enduring beauty of the human spirit. And so, beneath the infinite sky, Alicia and Lyra stood together, their hearts open to the endless possibilities of the universe. The stars, ancient and eternal, watched over them, their light a beacon of hope and wisdom, guiding their steps along the path of humility and love. And in the quiet moments, when the world was still, they would sit together beneath the stars, their souls entwined in a dance of light and shadow, their laughter a song that echoed through the night, a melody of joy that resonated in the hearts of all who heard it. As the stars twinkled above, casting their celestial glow upon the tranquil village, the people whispered tales of Alicia and Lyra, the two women whose lives had become a testament to the transformative power of love and understanding. Yet, in the shadowed corners of memory, there lingered older, darker tales, stories of women who, unlike Elysia and Lyra, had tread paths fraught with missteps and perilous practices in their pursuit of the stars. In the annals of history, there were whispered accounts of women who had sought to bend the cosmos to their will, their stories etched in the margins of forgotten tomes and spoken of in hushed tones. These were the astrologers who, in their quest for knowledge and power, had veered from the harmonious dance of the universe, choosing instead to wield the stars like a weapon, their practices mired in shadow and secrecy. In the ancient city of Thessalon, renowned for its towering spires and labyrinthine streets, there lived an astrologer of formidable reputation named Merope. Her name was spoken with a mixture of reverence and fear, for it was said that Merope could pluck the secrets of the future from the very ether. Her chamber was a sanctuary of celestial maps and arcane symbols, where the air was thick with the scent of incense and mystery. Merope's practice, however, was not one of gentle guidance or the soft illumination of wisdom. She wielded her knowledge like a scythe, cutting through the lives of those who sought her counsel with ruthless precision. Her predictions were not gentle nudges toward enlightenment, but rather edicts of doom, delivered with an icy detachment that sent shivers through the hearts of her clients. It was said that Merope had the power to alter the course of fate itself. Her rituals steeped in the dark arts of astrology. She would gaze into her scrying glass, her eyes distant and unfocused, as if peering into realms unseen by mortal eyes. In the flickering light of her chamber, she would chant incantations in a language long forgotten, her voice a low murmur that reverberated through the walls. Those who came to Merope in search of guidance often left her presence burdened by the weight of her revelations. Her predictions were laced with ominous warnings and dire consequences, and her clients found themselves ensnared in a web of fear and uncertainty. They would return to their homes, their minds haunted by the specter of their futures, unable to escape the shadow of Merope's words. Yet, despite the darkness that shrouded her practice, Merope's fame only grew, drawing the curious and the desperate to her door in droves. Her reputation as an astrologer of unparalleled skill was cemented, her name synonymous with the power to unravel the mysteries of the universe. But beneath the veneer of her success lay a soul consumed by the very forces she sought to master, her heart a barren landscape devoid of the warmth and light that had once illuminated her path. In contrast to Merope stood Selene, an astrologer of a different ilk, whose practices were no less fraught with peril, but diverged in their intent. Selene hailed from the verdant hills of Calypso, a land where the earth itself seemed to pulse with the rhythm of the stars. Her connection to the cosmos was visceral, her understanding of the celestial dance profound. Selene's path, however, was one of manipulation rather than malevolence. She believed that the stars could be harnessed to serve her will, that their energies could be channeled to alter the course of human affairs. Her rituals were elaborate affairs, orchestrated beneath the canopy of night, where the constellations bore witness to her machinations. In her quest to wield the power of the stars, Selene constructed intricate devices, celestial machines designed to capture and redirect the flow of astral energy. Her workshop was a marvel of artifice and ingenuity, filled with gleaming instruments and whirring mechanisms that hummed with a life of their own. She would spend hours in her sanctum, her fingers deftly adjusting gears and levers, her mind attuned to the cosmic symphony that played out above. But Selene's ambition was a double-edged sword, her desire to control the stars leading her down a treacherous path. Her experiments, though brilliant, were fraught with danger, and the energies she sought to command were as unpredictable as the winds that swept across the hills of Calypso. Time and again, her attempts to harness the stars ended in failure, her machines collapsing in showers of sparks and smoke, their mechanisms unable to bear the strain of the forces they sought to contain. The village of Calypso watched with bated breath as Selene continued her work, torn between admiration and apprehension. Her name became a byword for ambition unchecked, a cautionary tale of the perils of seeking too much from the heavens. Yet, despite the setbacks and the whispers of doubt that followed her every move, Selene pressed on, driven by a vision that refused to be dimmed. In the end, it was not the stars themselves that proved Selene's undoing, but the hubris that blinded her to the limits of her own power. One fateful night, as she stood beneath the canopy of stars, her machines once more whirring to life, the forces she had sought to command recoiled, their energy cascading back upon itself in a cataclysmic surge. The night sky erupted in a blinding flash of light, the air crackling with the fury of the cosmos unleashed. When the dust settled, Selene's workshop lay in ruins, her machines reduced to twisted remnants of metal and earth. The village was left to ponder the lessons of her rise and fall, the echoes of her ambition reverberating through the hills long after the stars had resumed their tranquil dance. In the annals of history, the stories of Merope and Selene stand as reminders of the delicate balance between knowledge and wisdom, between the pursuit of power and the embrace of humility. Their tales are woven into the tapestry of human experience, threads of caution and reflection that shimmer in the light of the stars. And so, as Alicia and Lyra stood beneath the same infinite sky, their hearts attuned to the gentle rhythm of the cosmos, they carried with them the lessons of those who had come before. The stars, ancient and eternal, watched over them, their light a beacon of hope and wisdom, guiding their steps along the path of humility and love. And in the quiet moments, when the world was still, they would sit together beneath the stars, their souls entwined in a dance of light and shadow. Their laughter, a song that echoed through the night, a melody of joy that resonated in the hearts of all who heard it. As Alicia and Lyra continued their journey through the tapestry of time and space, the night sky above them shimmered with the luminous glow of countless stars. The gentle rustle of the leaves in the night breeze whispered secrets only the wise could understand, and the moon bathed the landscape in its silvery glow, casting long, soft shadows that danced with the imagination. The world was a symphony of nocturnal sounds, a serene lullaby that cradled the earth in its embrace, inviting the weary to rest and dream. Their path took them through ancient forests, where towering oaks and whispering pines stood as sentinels of the ages. The forest floor was a mosaic of dappled moonlight and the soft carpet of fallen leaves, their crispness underfoot a reminder of the cycle of life and renewal. Here, the air was thick with the scent of earth and moss, and the cool night air carried the distant calls of owls and the occasional rustle of unseen creatures going about their nocturnal rituals. Alicia, with her flowing auburn hair and eyes that held the depth of the cosmos, walked with a grace that seemed in tune with the very heartbeat of the earth. Her presence was a calming balm, a gentle force that harmonized with the world around her. Beside her, Lyra moved with a quiet elegance, her laughter a soft ripple in the night, a melody that spoke of ancient mysteries and the joy of discovery. As they wandered, their conversations drifted between the celestial and the earthly, the scientific and the mystical. They spoke of the stars, those distant suns that burned with a brilliance that outshone the greatest of human achievements. They pondered the vastness of the universe, its infinite expanse a canvas painted with the light of a billion galaxies, each a testament to the wonders of creation. Yet, despite the enormity of the cosmos, their thoughts often returned to the stories of Merope and Selene, the women whose lives had been shaped by their encounters with the stars. These stories, though cautionary, were also rich with the beauty of human experience, tales of love and loss, of ambition and humility. They were reminders that the pursuit of knowledge, while noble, could lead to paths fraught with peril, if not tempered with wisdom and compassion. Alicia and Lyra knew that their own journey, while unique, was but a thread in the grand tapestry of existence. They had seen the mistakes of those who had come before, and they carried these lessons with them, etched into their hearts like constellations in the night sky. The stars, with their ancient wisdom, were their guides and their companions, their light, a beacon that illuminated the path ahead. There were moments when they would pause in their journey, entranced by the beauty of the night. They would sit together on a moss-covered log, the forest around them alive with the subtle symphony of nature. In these quiet moments, they would listen to the world breathe, the gentle sigh of the wind through the trees, the distant murmur of a brook, the soft rustle of leaves. The universe, in its infinite complexity, seemed to hold its breath, waiting for them to speak. And speak they did, their words a conversation with the stars. They shared their hopes and dreams, their fears and doubts, their voices weaving a tapestry of sound that mingled with the night. They spoke of the future, of the paths they might take, of the challenges they might face. Yet through it all, there was a sense of peace, a recognition that they were part of something greater, a cosmic dance that connected all living things. As the night deepened, the sky above them became a velvet canopy studded with diamonds, each star a reminder of the vastness of the universe and the fleeting nature of human life. They lay back on the cool earth, their bodies cradled by the gentle embrace of the land, and gazed up at the sky. The stars, with their ancient light, seemed to whisper secrets known only to those who dared to dream. In the stillness of the night, they felt a connection to the women who had come before them, those who had looked to the stars for guidance and inspiration. They imagined Merope and Selene, their eyes turned to the heavens, their hearts filled with the same wonder and awe. The stories of these women were not tales of failure, but of the eternal human quest for understanding, for meaning, for a place in the vast expanse of the cosmos. As dawn approached, the first light of day crept over the horizon, painting the sky with hues of pink and gold. The stars, one by one, faded into the light of the rising sun, their secrets hidden once more until night would reveal them again. Alicia and Lyra rose, their spirits renewed, their hearts light with the promise of a new day. They continued their journey, the lessons of the past a guiding light, their path illuminated by the wisdom of the stars. The world around them awoke to the gentle touch of morning, the forest alive with the song of birds and the rustle of life. It was a new day, a new beginning, a chance to walk the path of humility and love, guided by the eternal light of the stars. In their hearts, they carried the stories of Merope and Selene, the women whose lives had been intertwined with the cosmos. These tales were not mere cautionary epics, but celebrations of the human spirit, of the courage to dream, to reach for the stars, to find one's place in the world. And as Alicia and Lyra walked through the forest, their steps light with the joy of discovery, they knew that they, too, were part of this timeless dance, their lives a melody that echoed through the ages, a song of hope and wonder that would resonate long after the stars had resumed their tranquil dance. The forest seemed to breathe with them, each step they took harmonizing with the whispers of the wind through the leaves. Alicia and Lyra moved like twin shadows, their silhouettes weaving between the ancient trees that stood sentinel to the secrets of time. The sun, a golden orb rising in the sky, cast dappled patterns on the forest floor, a mosaic of light and shadow that mirrored the stories they carried. Their journey was not just a physical one, it was a pilgrimage of the soul. As they ventured deeper into the woods, the air grew cooler, the scent of pine mingling with the earthy aroma of the underbrush. They paused by a babbling brook, its waters sparkling in the morning light like scattered jewels. The gentle music of the stream was a balm, soothing the edges of the tales they bore, stories of women who had dared to peer into the mysteries of the cosmos, to pull forth the threads of fate and weave them into the tapestry of their lives. Alicia turned to Lyra, her eyes reflecting the light of the world around them. "Do you think they ever found peace, Merope and Selene?" she mused, her voice a soft current in the morning air. Lyra considered this, her gaze lost in the dance of the water over stones. "Perhaps peace is found not in the resolution of their stories, but in the telling of them," she replied. "In the sharing and remembering, we give voice to their dreams and struggles, and in doing so, we find a piece of ourselves." They resumed their walk, the path before them winding through a grove of birch trees, their white bark gleaming like guardians of forgotten lore. The sky above was a canvas of azure, the sun climbing higher, warming the earth and bringing life to the world. In the distance, the call of a hawk echoed, a sharp note of wildness that reminded them of the vastness that lay beyond their immediate journey. As they walked, Alicia and Lyra spoke of the constellations, the myriad stories they held, and the women who had looked to them for guidance. There was Andromeda, bound to her fate by the choices of others, yet shining brightly in the night sky as a testament to resilience. There was Cassiopeia, whose vanity had led to a legacy of caution, her throne forever tilted in the heavens as a reminder of the balance between pride and humility. The tales flowed between them like the stream they had left behind, a river of words that connected them to the past, to the women who had dared to read the stars and to interpret their celestial dance. These stories were not merely about the mistakes made or the price paid, but about the hope that lay in every misstep, the light that flickered even in the darkest night. The path led them to a clearing where the forest opened up to reveal a meadow bathed in sunlight. Wildflowers carpeted the ground in a riot of colors, their delicate petals nodding in the gentle breeze. Here, the air was fragrant with the scent of lavender and thyme, a heady perfume that enveloped them in a cocoon of tranquility. Alicia and Lyra settled on the soft grass, the earth cool beneath them, and allowed themselves a moment of stillness. The meadow buzzed with the hum of bees and the distant chirp of crickets, a symphony of life that underscored the silence of their reflections. Above them, the sky stretched endlessly, a reminder of the infinite possibilities that lay before them, the stories yet to be written. In this moment of peace, Alicia closed her eyes and let the warmth of the sun seep into her bones. She thought of Merope, of the choices she had made, the paths she had walked. It was easy to judge from the safety of hindsight, to see the folly in decisions made in the throes of desperation or ambition. But there was a certain beauty in those choices too, a fierce determination to grasp the stars, to mold one's destiny from the stardust of dreams. Lyra, watching the clouds drift lazily across the sky, found herself drawn to the tale of Selene. There was a melancholy in her story, a longing that resonated with the rhythm of a heart that beat to the tune of curiosity and wonder. Selene, who had dared to chart the heavens, to decipher the language of the stars and speak it to the world. Her legacy was a reminder that even in the pursuit of knowledge, one must tread carefully, balance curiosity with caution, passion with prudence. As the sun began its slow descent, painting the sky with hues of amber and rose, Alicia and Lyra rose from their resting place. The day was waning, but their journey was far from over. The forest awaited, its shadows lengthening, its secrets whispering in the twilight. They walked side by side, their footsteps soft on the moss-covered ground. In the gathering dusk, the air was cool and sweet, the scent of the forest deepening, rich with the promise of night. The path they followed was less a trail and more a suggestion, a gentle urging of the earth beneath their feet that guided them forward. As darkness fell, the first stars appeared, pinpricks of light in the velvet sky. Alicia and Lyra paused, their faces turned upward, their eyes reflecting the brilliance above. The constellations emerged, familiar patterns etched in the night, each star a story, each story a star. The forest around them seemed to hold its breath, the creatures of night stirring, their calls a chorus that rose and fell with the rhythm of the universe. Alicia felt a kinship with these stars, a sense of belonging to something greater, a dance of light that transcended the boundaries of time and space. Lyra, too, felt the pull of the cosmos, the stories they had shared weaving themselves into the fabric of her being. She reached out and took Alicia's hand, a silent affirmation of the bond they shared, of the journey they had embarked on together. Together, they stood beneath the sky, two figures in a world of wonder, their hearts open to the mysteries of the universe. The stars watched over them, ancient and knowing, their light a beacon that would guide them through the darkness of night. And so they walked on, Alicia and Lyra, the tales of Merope and Selene, Andromeda and Cassiopeia, a part of them now, their stories etched in the constellations above. They moved forward with the promise of adventure and the whisper of dreams, their path illuminated by the eternal light of the stars. The night unfolded like a velvet tapestry, dotted with the luminous whispers of ancient worlds. Alicia and Lyra, hands intertwined, walked as if treading the very fabric of time. Each step resonated with a softness that seemed to echo through the corridors of their souls. The air was thick with the scent of blooming night jasmine, its fragrance weaving gently through the stillness, a gentle lullaby to the creatures of the night. The path before them was a mosaic of dappled moonlight and shadow, the silver beams dancing across the earth like ethereal spirits. Above, the stars spun their stories, their twinkling light a silent language that spoke of forgotten realms and whispered secrets. Alicia could feel the weight of these celestial tales, each one a thread in the vast tapestry of the cosmos. Their journey was not just through space, but through time itself, a dance that transcended the mundane. As they walked, the stories of the stars unfolded around them like petals of a cosmic flower, each tale a glimpse into the past, a reflection of the lives of women who had gazed upon these same skies and sought to decipher their mysteries. Alicia's mind drifted to the tale of Livia, an astrologer of ancient Rome, whose practices were as controversial as they were revered. Livia had dared to challenge the patriarchal norms of her time, using her knowledge of the stars to guide and empower the women around her. She had read the heavens like a living manuscript, her interpretations both feared and sought after. Yet with her power came the burden of suspicion, the whispers of witchcraft that shadowed her every move. Lyra, sensing Alicia's thoughts, spoke in a voice as soft as the night breeze. "Do you think Livia found peace amongst the stars, even as the world around her questioned her path?" Alicia considered this, her eyes tracing the patterns of the constellations above. Perhaps the stars offered her the solace she could not find on Earth. In their light, she saw her reflection, a mirror to her soul's journey. Their conversation flowed like a gentle stream, meandering through the landscape of their shared curiosity. They spoke of Selene, who had used astrology to navigate the treacherous waters of Greek politics, her foresight a beacon of hope in tumultuous times. Her practices, though frowned upon by the ruling class, had guided many a sailor safely home, her charts as precise as the stars themselves. Yet the stories were not all of triumph. There were tales of betrayal and heartbreak, of women whose belief in the stars had led them astray, their trust misplaced in the fickle nature of fate. These stories lingered in the air, a reminder of the delicate balance between destiny and free will. As they walked, the landscape began to change, the gentle slopes giving way to rugged cliffs that rose up to meet the sky. The wind carried with it the scent of the sea, a salty tang that invigorated their senses. They paused at the edge of the cliffs, the vast expanse of the ocean stretching out before them, a mirror to the sky above. The waves crashed against the rocks below, a symphony of sound that harmonized with the silent song of the stars. Alicia and Lyra stood in awe of the endless horizon. The boundary between earth and sky blurred into a seamless expanse of possibility. Here, amidst the whispers of the sea and the eternal gaze of the stars, they spoke of Andromeda and Cassiopeia, their stories intertwined like the constellations that bore their names. Andromeda, chained to a rock, awaiting her fate at the hands of the sea monster, her salvation coming from the stars in the form of Perseus. Cassiopeia, her vanity, her downfall, forever bound to the celestial throne, her punishment a reminder of the consequences of hubris. These tales, woven into the night, resonated with a timeless truth. The stars spoke of the human condition, of dreams and desires, of the eternal struggle between light and darkness. Alicia and Lyra felt the weight of these stories, their hearts heavy with the knowledge of those who had come before them, who had looked to the stars for guidance and found both solace and despair. Yet, amidst the complexity of these tales, there was a beauty that transcended the sorrow, a reminder of the resilience of the human spirit. The stars, in their infinite wisdom, held the promise of renewal, of cycles that began anew with each dawn. As the first light of day began to creep over the horizon, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, Alicia and Lyra stood in silent reverence. The night had been a journey of discovery, a tapestry of stories that had woven themselves into the very fabric of their beings. The sun rose, its warmth a gentle caress that stirred the world from its slumber. The stars faded, their light retreating into the depths of the cosmos, yet their presence remained, etched into the memory of the night. Alicia turned to Lyra, her eyes reflecting the dawn's light. "We carry their stories within us, a legacy of the stars that will guide us on our own path." Lyra nodded, her heart full with the promise of the day. And as we walk this path, we become a part of their story, our lives a new chapter in the history of the stars. With a final glance at the horizon, they began their descent from the cliffs, their steps light and sure. The world lay before them, a canvas waiting to be painted with the colors of their dreams, the whispers of the stars a guiding melody in the symphony of their lives. In the quiet of the morning, amidst the song of the ocean and the gentle embrace of the wind, Alicia and Lyra walked forward, their hearts open to the adventures that awaited them. The stories of the past, the promise of the future, and the beauty of the present wove together in a harmonious dance, a testament to the enduring power of the stars and the women who had gazed upon them in wonder. As the sun cast its golden veil over the world, Alicia and Lyra meandered down the rocky path, their feet brushing against the earth with a rhythm that echoed the heartbeat of ancient lands. The cliffs stood tall behind them, guardians of stories untold, their rugged faces softened by the gentle morning light. The scent of salt lingered in the air, mingling with the fragrance of wildflowers that dotted the path, their vibrant hues a reminder of nature's unyielding beauty. Alicia paused, her gaze tracing the delicate line where ocean met sky, a horizon vast and endless. "Do you ever wonder," she mused, her voice a soft lilt in the morning air, "how those who came before us felt as they looked upon this same sea? Did they find solace in its constancy, a mirror to the infinite skies above?" Lyra, trailing her fingers along the petals of a nearby bloom, let the question hang in the air, a moment of shared reflection. "Perhaps they did," she replied, her eyes serene. "Or perhaps they saw the sea as we do now, a mystery to be explored, a promise yet to be fulfilled. Each wave a whisper, each tide a story waiting to be told." Their path wound through the meadows, where the grasses swayed gently, a sea of green rippling in the breeze. The earth was soft beneath their feet, the air alive with the chirping of birds greeting the dawn. It was a world reborn each day, a tapestry of life woven with threads of hope and dreams. As they walked, Alicia's thoughts wandered to the tales her grandmother had shared by the fireside, tales of women who had once charted the heavens, their eyes alight with the wisdom of the stars. These women, often misunderstood, had dared to reach beyond the confines of their world, their hearts attuned to the celestial dance above. "Do you think," Lyra's voice broke through Alicia's reverie, "that the stars remember those who watch them? That they carry a memory of every gaze, every whispered wish?" Alicia smiled, her heart warmed by the thought. "I believe the stars hold all our stories," she said, her voice a gentle melody. "Each life, each dream, a constellation in the vast sky of time, binding us to the universe in an eternal embrace." Their conversation flowed like a river, winding through the landscape of their shared journey. They spoke of dreams and fears, of the women who had come before them and those who would follow. Each word a step, each silence a breath in the symphony of the morning. The path led them to a grove, where trees stood tall and proud, their branches outstretched in a silent hymn to the heavens. Here, the light danced through the leaves, casting dappled patterns on the ground, a mosaic of shadow and light. It was a place of quiet refuge, a sanctuary where time seemed to stand still. Alicia and Lyra settled beneath an ancient oak, its roots entwined with the earth, a testament to endurance and grace. The air was cool and fragrant, carrying the scent of moss and earth. They sat in companionable silence, their thoughts wandering with the breeze, their souls intertwined with the rhythm of the world around them. In the gentle hush, Alicia spoke again, her voice a soft murmur. "I think of them often, those women who dared to dream of the stars, their courage, their determination, a beacon of light in the darkness." Lyra nodded, her eyes closed as she listened to the rustle of leaves, the whisper of the wind. "They faced challenges we can only imagine," she said, her voice a thread in the tapestry of their conversation. Yet they persevered, driven by a vision that transcended the bounds of their world. The stories of these women were woven into the fabric of their lives, a legacy of strength and resilience. They were the dreamers and the seekers, the ones who had looked beyond the horizon and dared to reach for the stars. Their practices, though often misunderstood, were a reflection of the times in which they lived, a testament to their unyielding spirit. Alicia's mind drifted to the tales of hardship and triumph, of those who had been shunned for their beliefs, their voices silenced by fear and ignorance. Yet even in the face of adversity, they had held fast to their dreams, their eyes forever turned to the stars. "They teach us," Alicia said softly, "that even in the darkest of times there is light to be found, a guiding star, a beacon of hope." Lyra opened her eyes, her gaze meeting Alicia's. "And we carry that light within us," she said, her voice a promise, a flame that will never be extinguished, a legacy that will endure. Together, they sat beneath the oak, the world around them a symphony of life and light. The stories of the past whispered in the breeze, a gentle reminder of the power of dreams and the strength of those who dared to follow them. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, casting its warm embrace over the land, Alicia and Lyra rose to their feet, their hearts full with the promise of the day. The path stretched before them, a journey yet to be traveled, a story yet to be written. With each step, they carried the legacy of the stars, their dreams a tapestry of light and hope. The world lay before them, a canvas waiting to be painted with the colors of their dreams, the whispers of the stars a guiding melody in the symphony of their lives. Together, they walked forward, their hearts open to the adventures that awaited them, their souls attuned to the timeless dance of the universe. In the depths of history, where shadows of memory intertwine with the whispers of the cosmos, there are tales that have been woven with threads of both light and darkness. The chronicles of women who practiced the ancient art of astrology in ways both wondrous and terrible. These women, with their gaze fixed upon the celestial, dared to dance on the edge of the known and the unknown, drawing upon the stars to guide them through the labyrinth of life. The wind sang softly through the leaves as Alicia and Lyra ventured further into the realm of these stories, their feet guided by the rhythm of the earth beneath them. The air was thick with the scent of blooming jasmine and the promise of rain, a sensory symphony that wrapped around them like an embrace. They found themselves standing at the threshold of an ancient village, a place where the lines between reality and myth blurred into a tapestry of mystery. The village was a relic of a time long past, its stones worn smooth by the passage of countless footsteps, its walls echoing with the secrets of those who had come before. This was a place where the stars had often been invoked, where the dance of the heavens was mirrored in the rituals of the earth. Alicia's fingers brushed against the rough-hewn stones, her touch a gentle caress of curiosity and reverence. "Here," she murmured, "is where the stories begin." Lyra nodded, her eyes wide with wonder as she imagined the lives of the women who had once walked these paths, their destinies entwined with the celestial. "Tell me of them," she urged, her voice a soft plea that hung in the air like a note suspended in time. And so, Alicia began to speak, her words a spell that wove the past into the present, a tapestry of tales illuminated by the glow of the stars. "Long ago," she began, "there lived a woman named Selene, whose eyes were said to reflect the night sky. She was a seer of unparalleled skill, her visions as clear as the waters of a mountain spring. Her people revered her as a bridge between their world and the celestial beyond, for she could read the stars with a precision that bordered on the divine." The village hushed around them, as if listening to the echoes of Selene's life. But Selene's power was not without its shadows, Alicia continued, her voice a whisper that mingled with the breeze. For in her thirst for knowledge, she sought to bind the stars to her will, to use their light to weave illusions that could alter the course of destiny itself. Lyra shivered, the weight of Selene's ambition a ghostly presence that lingered in the air. "Did she succeed?" she asked, her voice a fragile thread of curiosity. Alicia nodded, her gaze distant as if she could see the past unfurling before her. "She did, but at a price. Her visions grew dark, twisted by the very power she sought to control. The stars, once her allies, became her tormentors, their light a reminder of the boundaries she had dared to cross. The wind sighed through the trees, a lament for the woman who had flown too close to the celestial sun. In the end, Selene vanished, her fate a mystery that lingered like the shimmer of starlight on a moonlit night. But her legacy endured, a cautionary tale of hubris and the perils of seeking to command the cosmos. Lyra's heart ached with the weight of the story, a reminder of the fine line between ambition and folly. "And yet," she said softly, "there is beauty even in her fall, a testament to the power of dreams and the courage it takes to chase them." Alicia smiled, her eyes warm with understanding. "Indeed, for in every tale of darkness there is also light, a reminder that even in our failures we find the seeds of wisdom and growth." They walked on, their steps a gentle rhythm that mirrored the heartbeat of the earth. The village unfolded around them, each corner a portal to another tale, another life touched by the stars. There was another, Alicia said, her voice a thread that wove the past into the present. A woman named Callista, whose laughter was said to echo like the music of the spheres. She was a healer, her hands gifted with the ability to mend both body and spirit. Lyra's eyes sparkled with interest, her mind painting a portrait of this woman who wielded the stars like a balm. "What became of her?" she asked, her voice a melody of curiosity. "Callista was beloved by her people, for she used her gifts to bring comfort and hope," Alicia replied, her words imbued with a warmth that mirrored the sun's gentle caress. But her heart was restless, for she longed to understand the mysteries of the universe, to unravel the secrets of life and death. The trees whispered around them, a chorus of leaves and wind that sang of Callista's journey. She delved deep into the arcane, her mind a vessel for the knowledge of the stars. But in her quest for understanding, she lost sight of the earthly bonds that anchored her to the world. Lyra's breath caught in her throat, the story unfolding like a tapestry of light and shadow. "Did she find what she was seeking?" she asked, her voice a soft echo of hope. Alicia's gaze softened, her eyes filled with the wisdom of ages. "In a way she did," she said, for in her final moments she glimpsed the interconnectedness of all things, the dance of the stars mirrored in the dance of life. Her spirit became one with the cosmos, a part of the eternal symphony that binds us all. The village faded into the background, a backdrop to the stories that unfolded like petals of a flower under the tender touch of the sun. Alicia and Lyra walked on, their hearts attuned to the tales of those who had dared to dream, to reach for the stars and claim their place among them. "And so we carry their stories with us," Alicia said, her voice a song that resonated with the heartbeat of the earth. "A reminder that we are all a part of this great tapestry, a dance of light and shadow that spans the ages." Lyra nodded, her heart full with the legacy of those who had come before, their footsteps a guide on the path of her own journey. Together, they walked into the embrace of the stars, their souls alight with the promise of adventures yet to come, their hearts a beacon of hope in the eternal dance of the universe. The night sky enveloped Alicia and Lyra like a velvet cloak, its deep indigo punctuated by the glimmering jewels of distant worlds. The air was cool and fragrant with the scent of night-blooming jasmine, each breath a tranquil balm that soothed the spirit and quieted the mind. Their steps were soft upon the earth, a gentle rhythm that matched the pulse of their thoughts as they ventured deeper into the night. As they walked, the stories of the women who had practiced the ancient art of astrology unfolded before them, each tale a thread in the intricate tapestry of history. These were stories not of grand betrayal or calamity, but of subtle missteps, of the quiet misuse of celestial wisdom that had over time woven their own complex patterns into the fabric of human experience. In the distant past, there was Amara, whose eyes shone with the light of 1,000 stars. She had lived in a time when the heavens were seen as a vast library, each star a book filled with secrets waiting to be read. Amara had been gifted, her understanding of the celestial dance profound, yet it was her ambition that led her astray. She sought to bind the will of the cosmos to her own desires, to wield the stars as instruments of power rather than guides to wisdom. Her consultations, once sought for their clarity and insight, became tinged with the shadows of her own longings. The stars, she claimed, spoke only to her, their messages reserved for her alone to interpret. And so her readings grew narrow, limited by the bounds of her own ego, a cautionary tale of how the stars' wisdom could be obscured by human folly. The village that had once revered her began to turn away, seeking guidance in the purity of the night sky itself, untainted by the desires of a single heart. The path wound through a grove of ancient oaks, their branches whispering secrets to the night wind. Alicia and Lyra paused, listening to the rustle of leaves, each sound a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. They thought of Celine, a woman who had once danced beneath these very trees, her feet moving in time with the music of the spheres. Celine had understood the language of the stars in a way few ever could, her heart open to the vastness of the universe. Yet, in her longing for love, she had turned her gaze from the heavens to the earth, seeking to shape the fates of those around her. Her predictions became prophecies. Her gentle suggestions transformed into edicts. The natural ebb and flow of life, once her guiding principle, was bent to serve her vision of what should be. In time, the very stars she sought to command became distant, their voices muted by the weight of her will. The village learned to listen instead to the quiet wisdom of the night, finding solace in the constancy of the heavens, unchanging and eternal in their silent dance. As Alicia and Lyra wandered further, the night deepened, the sky a vast ocean of possibilities. They spoke of Mira, a woman whose heart had been as vast and open as the sky itself. Mira had believed in the power of the stars to heal, to guide, to illuminate the darkest paths. Her touch was gentle, her words a balm to those who suffered. Yet in her compassion, Mira made a grave error. She believed she could take the burdens of others upon herself, that she alone could bear the weight of their sorrows, their uncertainties, their fears. Her heart, though vast, was not infinite, and under the weight of so many lives, it began to break. The stars, once her allies, became a source of torment, their messages a cacophony that drowned her in the very sorrow she sought to ease. It was a lesson, Elysia mused, in the limits of human frailty, a reminder that even the greatest of gifts must be wielded with care. The stars could guide, but they could not replace the journey each soul must undertake. As the first light of dawn began to spill over the horizon, painting the sky with hues of rose and gold, Elysia and Lyra found themselves at the edge of a vast meadow, the grass a sea of silver in the pre-dawn light. Here, in the quiet moments before the world awoke, they spoke of Astra, a woman whose spirit was as wild and untamed as the winds that swept across the land. Astra had lived in a time when the world was changing, when the old ways were giving way to the new. She had seen the stars not as distant guides, but as living beings, their voices a chorus that sang of freedom and possibility. Yet, in her quest to break the chains of tradition, Astra had sought to rewrite the very nature of the heavens, to impose her own vision of what could be upon the stars themselves. Her practices, once revolutionary, became a source of confusion, a tangle of contradictions that left those who sought her guidance adrift. The stars, unchanging in their ancient wisdom, continued their dance, untouched by the whims of a single soul. In the quiet of the morning, Elysia and Lyra reflected on these stories, their hearts full with the lessons of those who had walked before them. The stars, they realized, offered not certainty, but possibility, not answers, but questions. They were a reminder of the vastness of the universe, and of the small yet significant place each of us holds within it. And so, as the sun rose, bathing the world in its golden light, Elysia and Lyra turned their faces to the sky, their hearts open to the infinite possibilities that lay before them. They knew that the path of the astrologer was not one of power, but of humility, a journey not of control, but of understanding. Together they stepped forward, ready to embrace the dance of the stars, to listen to their whispers, and to carry their wisdom into the world. The stories of those who had come before were their guide, a tapestry of light and shadow that illuminated the path ahead, a reminder that we are all, in our own way, a part of the eternal dance of the universe. As Elysia and Lyra ventured deeper into the vast tapestry of night, the air around them shimmered with the quiet hum of ancient secrets. The forest, a cathedral of towering trees, accepted them with the gentle rustle of leaves, a whispered welcome that seemed to bridge the worlds of what was and what might be. They walked side by side, their steps a quiet symphony upon the forest floor, cushioned by the soft carpet of moss and fallen leaves. The stars above twinkled like the eyes of wise old souls, watching over them with a knowing gaze. The night was a living entity, breathing, pulsing, and whispering secrets in a language only the heart could understand. Elysia cast her gaze upward, her eyes tracing the constellations that had guided generations before her. Each star was a story, a fragment of history, a thread in the intricate weave of time. Some were tales of joy and triumph, others of sorrow and loss, yet all were essential, each contributing to the grand narrative of the cosmos. Lyra, Elysia began, her voice soft and contemplative, do you ever wonder about the women who came before us? The ones who reached for the stars and perhaps stumbled in their quest? Lyra nodded, her silhouette framed by the gentle glow of moonlight. I think of them often, she replied, her voice a melody of empathy and reflection. They were seekers of truth, like us, but perhaps in their search they became entangled in their own desires, losing sight of the humility that the stars demand. As they continued their journey, the forest seemed to part for them, revealing a clearing bathed in celestial light. The moon, a silver sentinel in the sky, cast its luminescent glow upon an ancient stone circle, a relic of a time long past. The stones stood solemn and silent, guardians of the mysteries they had witnessed throughout the ages. Alicia and Lyra moved toward the stones, their fingers brushing against the cool, weathered surfaces. The stones were etched with symbols and runes, inscriptions left by those who had come seeking wisdom, guidance, and perhaps redemption. They spoke to the stars here, Lyra murmured, tracing a spiral pattern with her fingertips. But some may have tried to command them, to bend the celestial dance to their will. Alicia nodded, her heart heavy with the weight of understanding. Yes, she agreed. There were those who sought power and control, forgetting that the stars offer not dominion, but insight. The universe is not a servant to be commanded, but a teacher to be revered. The night breeze carried with it the scent of blooming nightshade, a reminder of the duality of nature, beauty and danger intertwined. Alicia inhaled deeply, allowing the fragrance to anchor her in the present moment, a grounding amidst the swirling echoes of the past. Do you think, Lyra mused, that these women found peace in the end? That they understood the lessons the stars intended for them? Alicia pondered this, her mind swirling with the stories she had learned, the tales of triumph and downfall. I believe they did, she said at last, for even in their mistakes there is growth. The stars do not judge, they illuminate, revealing both light and shadow. It is up to us to learn from the shadows and turn toward the light. As the night deepened, the sisters settled within the circle of stones, feeling the ancient energy pulse beneath their feet. They sat in silence, their hearts open, their minds attuned to the whispers of the cosmos. The universe spoke not in words, but in vibrations, a symphony of frequencies that resonated within their souls. In this sacred space, Alicia and Lyra began to meditate, their breaths synchronized with the rhythm of the earth. They reached out with their senses, feeling the interconnectedness of all things, the soil beneath them, the trees surrounding them, the stars above. It was a web of life, an intricate tapestry woven with threads of stardust and dreams. Visions unfolded before them, glimpses of the past and flashes of potential futures. They saw women clad in robes of midnight blue, their eyes alight with the fire of knowledge. They witnessed rituals performed under moonlit skies, incantations whispered in ancient tongues. Yet, they also saw the moments of hubris, when pride overshadowed wisdom, and the delicate balance was disrupted. Alicia's heart ached for these women, for their struggles and their triumphs, for the paths they had chosen and the lessons they had learned. She understood now that each story was a reflection, a mirror held up to her own journey. The mistakes of the past were not to be condemned, but to be learned from, a guidepost on the path toward understanding. Lyra, too, felt the weight of these stories, the echoes of laughter and tears, the resonance of hopes and fears. She realized that the night sky was not merely a map of stars, but a repository of human experience, a testament to the eternal quest for meaning and connection. As the first light of dawn began to paint the sky with hues of rose and gold, Alicia and Lyra slowly emerged from their meditative state. The world around them was transformed, bathed in the gentle glow of morning, a reminder of the cyclical nature of life and the promise of renewal. They rose from their place within the stone circle, feeling the warmth of the sun upon their faces, the light of a new day illuminating their path. The stories of the past were their companions, a source of wisdom and inspiration as they moved forward. Together they turned away from the stones, their hearts filled with gratitude and determination. They understood now that the journey of an astrologer was not simply to interpret the stars, but to dance with them, to listen to their stories, and to share their wisdom with the world. As they walked back through the forest, the trees whispered their approval, the leaves rustling in a gentle chorus. The path ahead was uncertain, but Alicia and Lyra embraced the mystery, knowing that the stars would guide them as they had guided countless others before them. And so, they continued their journey, their minds open to the infinite possibilities of the universe, their hearts aligned with the rhythm of the stars. They were part of a timeless dance, a cosmic ballet that transcended the boundaries of time and space, a reminder that we are all, in our own way, a part of the eternal dance of the universe. As Alicia and Lyra made their way through the dense embrace of the forest, the air around them shimmered with the faint luminescence of twilight. The dim light cast long shadows across the path, weaving intricate patterns that seemed to mimic the constellations above. The sisters walked in silence, their footsteps a soft symphony of crunching leaves and snapping twigs, each sound a note in the melody of the night. The forest was alive with whispers, the gentle breath of the wind weaving tales that echoed through the branches. The trees, ancient and wise, stood sentinel, their gnarled trunks twisted with the weight of centuries. Their leaves rustled softly, a delicate murmuring that spoke of secrets kept and stories long forgotten. Alicia and Lyra listened, their senses attuned to the subtle symphony of the woods, as if the very air was imbued with the wisdom of the ages. The scent of earth and pine filled their lungs, grounding them in the present even as their minds wandered through the tapestry of time. It was a scent that spoke of life and decay, of cycles unending, and of the eternal heartbeat of the natural world. Every breath was a reminder of their connection to the earth, a bond that was as ancient as the stars themselves. As they walked, the sisters felt the weight of history upon their shoulders. They were but two threads in a vast tapestry, woven into the intricate patterns of time by the hands of fate. Yet they carried with them the knowledge of those who had come before, women who had dared to look skyward and seek the wisdom hidden within the stars. These women, with their courage and conviction, had forged paths through the darkness, their legacies a guiding light for those who followed. Alicia and Lyra spoke of these women in hushed tones, their voices a reverent murmur beneath the canopy of leaves. They spoke of Eliana, the seer who had read the stars with such clarity that even kings sought her counsel. Her predictions had shaped the fates of nations, her insights a beacon in troubled times. But Eliana's gift had been her burden, her visions a double-edged sword that had ultimately led to her undoing. Her tale was one of triumph and tragedy, a reminder that the stars, while offering guidance, demanded a price. Then there was Maris, the healer whose knowledge of celestial movements had been unmatched. Her understanding of the stars had allowed her to heal those who were thought beyond hope, her hands guided by the celestial dance above. Yet Maris had been betrayed by those who feared her power, her life extinguished by the very people she had sought to save. Her story was a testament to the dangers of fear and ignorance, a reminder that knowledge was both a gift and a curse. As the sisters shared these tales, they felt a kinship with these women, a connection that transcended time and space. They were part of a sisterhood, a lineage of seekers who had dared to reach beyond the mundane and touch the divine. The stars were their guides, their companions, their source of strength and solace in a world that often seemed indifferent to their dreams. The path through the forest wound onward, twisting and turning like the threads of fate themselves. The sisters moved with purpose, their steps sure and steady despite the uncertainty that lay ahead. They knew that their journey was just beginning, and that the road would be fraught with challenges and trials. But they also knew that they carried within them the strength of the women who had come before, a legacy of resilience and hope that would see them through the darkest of nights. As they walked, the sky above began to shift, the inky blackness giving way to the deep indigo of pre-dawn. The first stars of the morning began to appear, twinkling faintly against the growing light. Alicia and Lyra paused for a moment, their eyes turned skyward, their hearts lifted by the beauty of the celestial display. The stars seemed to dance above them, a celestial ballet that mirrored the dance within their own souls. It was a dance of light and shadow, of hope and despair, of dreams and reality. It was a dance that reminded them of the infinite possibilities that lay before them, the limitless potential that resided within. As the first rays of the sun began to pierce the horizon, the sisters felt a renewed sense of purpose. They were part of something greater, a cosmic dance that transcended the boundaries of time and space. They were astrologers, seekers of truth and wisdom, guided by the stars and driven by a desire to understand the mysteries of the universe. With the dawn came a new beginning, a fresh start in their journey. The forest around them seemed to come alive with the light, the trees bathed in a golden glow that spoke of renewal and hope. The air was crisp and clear, carrying with it the promise of a new day. Alicia and Lyra resumed their journey, their hearts filled with determination and a sense of wonder at the world around them. They knew that the path ahead was uncertain, but they were ready to face whatever challenges awaited them. They were guided by the wisdom of the stars, inspired by the courage of the women who had come before, and driven by a desire to share their knowledge with the world. As they walked, they spoke of the future, of the possibilities that lay before them, and of the legacy they hoped to leave behind. They dreamed of a world where the wisdom of the stars was accessible to all, where the mysteries of the universe were embraced rather than feared, and where the dance of the cosmos was celebrated by all. The sun rose higher in the sky, casting its warm light upon the path ahead. The forest around them was alive with the sounds of morning, the chirping of birds and the rustling of leaves, a reminder of the beauty and wonder of the natural world. Alicia and Lyra walked on, their spirits lifted by the promise of a new day, their hearts filled with hope and determination. They were part of a timeless dance, a cosmic ballet that transcended the boundaries of time and space, a reminder that we are all, in our own way, a part of the eternal dance of the universe. And so they continued their journey, their minds open to the infinite possibilities of the universe, their hearts aligned with the rhythm of the stars. They were astrologers, seekers of truth and wisdom, guided by the stars and driven by a desire to understand the mysteries of the universe. They were part of something greater, a legacy of resilience and hope that would see them through the darkest of nights and into the light of a new dawn. As they ventured deeper into the heart of the forest, the path beneath their feet transformed from a well-trodden trail into a tapestry of roots and fallen leaves, weaving intricate patterns that whispered stories of seasons past. The air was fragrant with the earthy aroma of damp soil and the subtle sweetness of blooming wildflowers, creating a symphony of scents that danced around them like invisible spirits. Alicia, with her auburn hair catching the morning light, paused for a moment to close her eyes and breathe deeply. She tilted her head back, letting the sun's gentle rays caress her face, and felt the universe pulse around her. It was a sensation akin to standing on the cusp of eternity, where time stretched and bent, and the cosmos seemed to speak in a language only the heart could understand. Lyra, ever perceptive, watched her friend with a gentle smile. Her own heart resonated with the same vibrations, a shared understanding that bound them in unspoken harmony. She reached out and touched Alicia's arm lightly, a reminder of the physical connection that anchored them in the present. "Do you feel it, Lyra?" Alicia whispered, her voice barely more than a breath. "The universe, it sings to us today." Lyra nodded, her eyes bright with the same wonder. "Yes, it's as if the stars themselves are whispering secrets, urging us onward." Their journey was more than a mere passage through the woods. It was a pilgrimage, a sacred quest to seek out the truths that lay hidden in the folds of time and space. The forest, ancient and wise, seemed to sense their purpose and welcomed them with open arms, enfolding them in its verdant embrace. As they walked, the trees above stretched their boughs like guardians, casting dappled shadows on the ground. The light played tricks with their senses, creating fleeting images that seemed to flicker on the edge of their vision. A celestial dance of light and shadow, a reminder of the duality that exists within all things. Alicia and Lyra were not the first to walk this path. Women through the ages had sought the wisdom of the stars, each generation passing down its knowledge like a sacred torch. Yet, not all practices had been benevolent or wise. There were those who, blinded by ambition or fear, had twisted the ancient arts for their own ends, leaving behind a legacy of sorrow and ruin. The thought weighed heavy on their minds as they continued their journey, a cautionary tale etched into the annals of history. They knew that the stars, while beautiful and profound, could also be misinterpreted by those who sought power over enlightenment. The echoes of those darker times lingered like shadows, a reminder of the responsibility they bore as custodians of the celestial craft. As the sun climbed higher, casting a golden glow across the forest floor, lyrical voices seemed to rise from the earth itself. A chorus of women from centuries past, their stories woven into the very fabric of the land. Some had used their gifts for healing and insight, while others had been consumed by darker desires, their practices veering into the realm of manipulation and control. There were tales of astrologers who had sought to predict the fates of kings and queens, weaving intricate tapestries of destiny that could sway the tides of power. In their quest for influence, some had resorted to deceit, crafting horoscopes that played to the fears and ambitions of those who sought their counsel. Others had delved into the shadowy realm of curses and hexes, their knowledge of the stars twisted into tools of vengeance and spite. These practices, rooted in ignorance and greed, had tarnished the reputation of astrologers, casting a long shadow over their craft. It was a legacy that Elysia and Lyra sought to overcome, to reclaim the purity and wisdom that lay at the heart of astrology. As they walked, the forest seemed to shift around them, the trees whispering secrets in a language only the soul could decipher. They passed through groves of ancient oaks and silver birches, their leaves rustling like the pages of a forgotten book. The air grew cooler as they descended into a shaded hollow, where a small stream meandered through mossy stones, its water singing a soft, soothing melody. They paused by the water's edge, listening to its gentle song. Elysia knelt and dipped her fingers into the cool water, feeling its life-giving energy flow through her. She closed her eyes, letting the sound wash over her, a cleansing balm for the spirit. Lyra joined her, sitting cross-legged on the soft grass. She watched the water ripple and sparkle in the sunlight, mesmerized by its dance. It was a reminder of the ebb and flow of life, the cycles of the moon and stars that guided their journey. "Do you ever wonder," Lyra mused, her voice barely above a whisper, "how we might be remembered, what legacy we will leave behind?" Elysia opened her eyes and smiled softly. "I hope we are remembered for our kindness, for our pursuit of truth and understanding, that we are seen as stewards of the stars, not as their masters." Lyra nodded, her gaze distant as she pondered the path they walked. "It is a heavy burden to hold the knowledge of the cosmos in our hearts, but it is also a gift, a chance to heal and enlighten." The sun continued its ascent, casting long shadows as it climbed toward its zenith. The forest around them seemed to hum with life, a symphony of sound and color that filled their senses. They were surrounded by the beauty of nature, a reminder of the interconnectedness of all things. Their journey was far from over, but in that moment, by the stream, they felt a deep sense of peace and purpose. They were part of a greater whole, a cosmic tapestry that stretched across time and space, binding them to the past and future in a dance that would never end. As they rose to continue their journey, the forest seemed to part before them, revealing a path bathed in sunlight. It was a sign, a blessing from the universe that guided their steps and illuminated their way. With hearts full of hope and determination, Elysia and Lyra walked on, their spirits lifted by the promise of a new day. They were astrologers, seekers of truth and wisdom, guided by the stars and driven by a desire to understand the mysteries of the universe. They were part of something greater, a legacy of resilience and hope that would see them through the darkest of nights and into the light of a new dawn. The path before them was dappled with sunlight, a golden mosaic that danced across the forest floor. Each step they took was a gentle whisper, a soft cadence of footfalls on earth that had been trodden by countless seekers before them. Elysia and Lyra moved with a purpose that transcended the physical. They were guided by an inner compass, their souls attuned to the celestial melodies that played in the skies above. As they journeyed deeper into the heart of the wood, the air grew rich with the scent of pine and damp earth, a heady perfume that wrapped around them like a cloak. The trees, ancient sentinels of time, stood tall and proud, their branches woven into a canopy that filtered the sunlight into a kaleidoscope of colors. It was as if the forest itself was alive, breathing with a rhythm that matched their own. The gentle murmur of a nearby stream accompanied their thoughts, a soothing lullaby that spoke of ages past and the promise of what was yet to come. Elysia and Lyra listened, their hearts open to the wisdom of the natural world, their minds eager to decipher the language of the stars. As the day wore on, the forest transformed around them. The light shifted from the bright gold of morning to the warm, honeyed tones of afternoon. Shadows stretched long and languid across their path, and the air filled with the gentle hum of life. Birds flitted from branch to branch, their songs weaving a tapestry of sound that echoed through the trees. It was a symphony of existence, a reminder of the cycles that governed all things. Alicia paused, resting her hand on the rough bark of an ancient oak. She closed her eyes, feeling the pulse of life beneath her fingertips. It was a connection to the earth, a grounding force that reminded her of her place in the universe. Lyra stood beside her, her own senses alive with the magic of the moment. They were connected, not just to each other, but to everything around them. It was a bond that transcended time and space, a reminder of the unity of all things. Their journey was not just a physical one. It was a quest for understanding, a pilgrimage of the soul. They sought the secrets of the cosmos, the hidden truths that lay beyond the veil of the known. They were astrologers, navigators of the celestial seas, and their path was illuminated by the light of distant stars. As they continued on their way, the landscape began to change. The forest opened up to reveal a vast meadow, a sea of wildflowers that swayed gently in the breeze. It was a riot of color, a living canvas painted with the hues of 1,000 blooms. The air was alive with the scent of lavender and chamomile, a heady blend that spoke of summer days and endless skies. Alicia and Lyra wandered through the meadow, their fingers brushing against the petals of flowers that seemed to lean in to greet them. It was a place of peace, a sanctuary where time seemed to stand still. They felt the weight of history here, the echoes of those who had walked this path before them. It was a reminder of the legacy they carried, a lineage of wisdom and knowledge that spanned the ages. As the sun began its descent, painting the sky with strokes of pink and gold, they reached the edge of the meadow and found themselves standing before a small village nestled in the embrace of the hills. It was a place that seemed untouched by time, a haven where the rhythm of life moved with the gentle pace of the seasons. The villagers welcomed them with open arms, their faces weathered by the sun and wind, their eyes filled with the quiet wisdom of those who lived close to the earth. Alicia and Lyra were invited to share their stories, to sit by the fire and speak of the stars and their journey. The evening stretched into night, the sky a vast tapestry of constellations that twinkled like diamonds scattered across velvet. The villagers listened in rapt attention as Alicia and Lyra spoke of the cosmic dance, the eternal cycles that governed the heavens and the earth. They spoke of the power of the stars, the influence of celestial bodies on human lives, and the ancient practices that had guided seekers through the ages. As the fire crackled and the stars wheeled overhead, Alicia shared tales of the women who had come before them, the astrologers whose practices had shaped the course of history. There were stories of wisdom and courage, of women who had read the skies and unlocked the secrets of the universe. But there were also tales of those whose practices had been shrouded in darkness, whose interpretations of the stars had led to fear and misunderstanding. Lyra recounted the story of the Oracle of Delphi, the priestess who had sat in the heart of the temple, breathing in the sacred fumes and speaking the prophecies of Apollo. Her words had been revered, but they were often cryptic, open to interpretation and misinterpretation alike. It was a reminder of the power of the stars and the responsibility that came with it. The villagers listened with interest, their faces illuminated by the flickering glow of the fire. They asked questions, eager to learn more about the mysteries of the cosmos and the role of the astrologer in interpreting its messages. As the night deepened, the conversation turned to the practices that had been lost to time, the knowledge that had been hidden or forgotten. Alicia spoke of the ancient texts that lay buried in libraries and archives, waiting to be rediscovered by those with the curiosity and courage to seek them out. She spoke of the importance of balance, of the need to approach astrology with an open heart and a discerning mind. It was a tool, a means of understanding the world and one's place within it, but it was also a reminder of the mysteries that lay beyond human comprehension. The villagers nodded, their faces thoughtful as they absorbed the wisdom shared by Elysia and Lyra. They had been given a glimpse into a world that was both familiar and strange, a world where the stars held sway over the fates of men and women, guiding their paths and shaping their destinies. As the fire burned low and the stars began to fade with the coming dawn, Elysia and Lyra knew that their journey was far from over. There were still many paths to explore, many mysteries to unravel. But in that moment, surrounded by the warmth of the village and the beauty of the natural world, they felt a deep sense of purpose. They were connected to the past and the future, part of a continuum that stretched across time and space. It was a journey that would never end, a dance that would continue long after they were gone. And as they prepared to set out once more, they knew that the stars would guide them, lighting their way through the darkness and into the light of a new day. The morning mist clung to the earth like a silken veil, softening the edges of the waking world. Elysia and Lyra walked through the village, their footsteps light upon the dew-kissed grass. The horizon was a canvas painted in shades of lavender and rose, the sun a golden orb waiting to crest the hills. The villagers, now awake and bustling with the promise of a new day, waved and called out farewells, their voices mingling with the gentle rustle of leaves stirred by the breeze. Elysia, with her eyes that seemed to hold the cosmos, glanced at Lyra. Her companion, with hair like starlight and a soul as deep as the ocean, returned her gaze with a knowing smile. Their bond was forged through shared experiences and silent understandings, a partnership that transcended mere friendship. As they left the village behind, the path ahead unfolded like a ribbon through the lush countryside, weaving through fields of wildflowers that swayed and danced in the morning air. The scent of jasmine and lavender perfumed the atmosphere, a fragrant reminder of nature's generous beauty. Birds sang in harmonious chorus, their melodies a symphony of joy and promise, an ode to the dawn of a new adventure. The two women walked in companionable silence, each lost in her own thoughts, yet tethered by a shared purpose. They had learned much during their time in the village, both from the stories told and those left unspoken, hidden between the lines of history and legend. The practices they had uncovered were a tapestry woven with threads of hope and fear, wisdom and folly. The path led them to a small brook, where water babbled over smooth stones, creating a melody that resonated with their souls. They paused to drink and refresh themselves, the coolness of the water invigorating their senses. As they rested, Lyra's thoughts turned to the stories of the past, tales of astrologers who had wielded power and influence over the lives of those who sought their guidance. She recalled the women who had used their knowledge of the stars not as a tool of illumination, but as a means of control. In the annals of history, there were those who had twisted the celestial wisdom for personal gain, casting shadows over the lives of those who trusted them. These practices, born of ambition and greed, had left scars that echoed through time. Lyra spoke softly, her voice a gentle murmur above the brook's song. Do you ever wonder, Elysia, about the weight of the choices we make? How they ripple through the lives of others, like stones thrown into a pond? Elysia nodded, her gaze distant as she watched the play of sunlight upon the water. The stars may guide us, but it is we who must choose how we interpret their messages. The past is filled with those who lost their way, who forgot that true power lies not in domination, but in understanding. They rose and continued their journey, the path now winding through a forest where ancient trees stood like sentinels, their branches reaching toward the heavens. The forest was a place of whispers and secrets, where the air was thick with the scent of pine and earth. Sunlight filtered through the canopy, dappling the ground with patterns of light and shadow. As they walked, Elysia's thoughts drifted to a tale she had heard long ago, of an astrologer whose ambition had led to her downfall. This woman, driven by a desire for recognition and influence, had manipulated the stars' messages to suit her needs, weaving false prophecies that sowed discord and fear. Her name became a byword for deceit, her legacy a cautionary tale. In the heart of the forest, they found a clearing where a circle of stones lay half buried in moss and wildflowers. The air was still, as if the world held its breath in reverence of this sacred space. Elysia and Lyra sat upon the stones, their fingers tracing the ancient symbols etched into their surfaces. These stones held memories, echoes of those who had come before, seeking wisdom and solace. Lyra closed her eyes, allowing the energy of the place to wash over her. She could feel the whispers of the past, the voices of women who had stood where she now sat, each seeking the stars' guidance in their own way. Some had found truth and enlightenment, while others had been led astray by their own desires. Alicia's voice broke the silence, her tone contemplative. The stars are a mirror, reflecting not only the heavens but our own hearts. To see clearly, one must look not only outward but inward to understand the truth that lies within. Together, they meditated, their minds reaching out to the cosmos, seeking clarity and purpose. The forest seemed to breathe with them, each exhalation a sigh of peace and acceptance. Time slipped away, the sun climbing higher in the sky, its warmth a gentle caress upon their skin. When they finally rose to continue their journey, they did so with renewed determination. The path led them out of the forest and into a landscape bathed in golden light, rolling hills stretching out before them like waves upon an emerald sea. The world was vast and full of possibilities, each horizon a promise of new discoveries and challenges. As they walked, the conversation turned to the future, to the paths they might take and the people they might meet. They spoke of their hopes and dreams, of the desire to share their knowledge and learn from others, to build a world where the stars were a source of inspiration and unity rather than division. Alicia and Lyra knew that their journey would not be without obstacles, that the lessons of the past were reminders of the complexities and contradictions inherent in the human spirit. Yet they also knew that within those challenges lay the seeds of growth and transformation. The sun began to dip toward the horizon, painting the sky in hues of amber and crimson. As twilight descended, the stars emerged one by one, their light a guiding beacon in the gathering darkness. The night was alive with the sounds of nature, the rustle of leaves and the distant call of an owl weaving a tapestry of sound around them. In the quiet of the evening, as they made camp beneath the stars, Alicia and Lyra felt the weight of their journey, the burden of knowledge, and the responsibility it entailed. Yet they also felt the joy of discovery, the thrill of exploration, and the profound connection to the universe and each other. They lay back upon the earth, the ground cool and comforting, and gazed up at the vast expanse of the night sky. The stars shimmered like diamonds scattered across velvet, their light a reminder of the infinite possibilities that lay before them. In that moment, beneath the canopy of the cosmos, Alicia and Lyra understood that their journey was not just a quest for knowledge, but a celebration of life in all its complexity and beauty. The worst practices of the past were lessons etched into the fabric of history, warnings and reminders of the power of choice and the importance of integrity. And as they drifted into slumber, lulled by the gentle embrace of the night, they carried with them the hope that their journey would bring light to the shadows, that their voices would join the chorus of those who sought to create a world where the stars were a source of wisdom and wonder, a guide to a brighter, more harmonious future. Dawn's gentle embrace began to weave its way through the veil of night, casting a soft palette of colors across the horizon. Alicia stirred first, her senses slowly awakening to the symphony of morning sounds. The rustle of leaves as a gentle breeze meandered through the trees, the distant call of a bird heralding the arrival of a new day, and the faint whisper of a brook nearby, its waters murmuring secrets of the earth. Lyra lay beside her, still caught in the tender embrace of dreams, her face serene and untroubled. Alicia watched her for a moment, a sense of gratitude warming her heart. Their journey together had been one of discovery and revelation, a tapestry woven with threads of history, myth, and the shared strength of their bond. As the sun's first rays kissed the earth, Lyra awoke, her eyes meeting Alicia's with a smile that spoke of unspoken understanding. They rose together, stretching their limbs, feeling the renewed energy of the day flowing through them. Their path led them through a meadow blanketed with wildflowers, each blossom a tiny universe unto itself, vibrant and alive. The scent of lavender and chamomile hung in the air, a fragrant reminder of the earth's generosity. The sky above was a vast canvas, painted with the colors of dawn, and the world seemed to pulse with potential. They walked in silence, their footsteps a gentle rhythm against the earth. The landscape unfolded before them, a living tapestry of hills and valleys, forests and streams, each turn revealing new wonders. It was a land that held the echoes of ancient wisdom, a place where the past and present intertwined, where the stories of those who had come before lingered like shadows in the light. As they journeyed, they spoke of the astrologers who had walked the path of deception, those who had used the stars not as guides to wisdom, but as tools of manipulation. They spoke of women who had betrayed the sacred trust of their craft, who had twisted the celestial language to serve their own desires, who had allowed greed and ambition to cloud their vision. There was the tale of Morgane, a seeress who had risen to power in a time of turmoil. She had claimed the stars spoke solely to her, that their secrets were hers alone to wield. Her prophecies were shrouded in ambiguity, her words crafted to instill fear and dependence. People flocked to her, desperate for guidance, yet blind to the chains of manipulation she forged around them. Morgane's influence grew, her web of deceit entangling the hearts and minds of those who sought her counsel. But the stars do not suffer lies lightly, and the universe, in its boundless wisdom, revealed her treachery. Her downfall was swift and unrelenting, a reminder that integrity is the true North Star by which all must navigate. Alicia and Lyra spoke of Isolde, another astrologer whose legacy was one of sorrow. Her heart had been pure, her intentions noble, but she had allowed herself to be swayed by the whispers of power. In her quest to harness the star's energy, she had tampered with forces beyond her comprehension. Her practices became reckless, her rituals dangerous, and the cosmos, in its infinite balance, sought to correct her missteps. Isolde's story was a cautionary tale, a reminder of the delicate dance between knowledge and hubris, of the need for humility before the vastness of creation. The universe is a mirror, reflecting our actions back upon us, and Isolde's reflection was one of regret and lost potential. As the day wore on, Alicia and Lyra paused by a stream, its waters clear and cool, a sanctuary of stillness in the heart of the world. They drank deeply, the water refreshing their spirits, and sat upon the banks, lost in contemplation. "How do we honor the stars?" Lyra mused, her gaze fixed on the rippling water. "How do we ensure that our actions are in harmony with the universe?" Alicia considered her words, the weight of them settling into her consciousness like a stone in a pond. "Perhaps it begins with listening," she replied softly. "Listening to the stars, to each other, to the whispers of the earth. It is a dialogue, an exchange of energy and intention. We must approach the cosmos with reverence, with the understanding that we are part of a greater whole." Lyra nodded, her eyes alight with understanding. "And with love," she added, her voice a gentle melody. "Love for the mysteries we cannot comprehend, for the stories waiting to be told, for the journey itself." They sat in silence, the words a shared promise, a commitment to walk the path with integrity and grace. They were not alone in their quest. The universe, in all its majesty, walked with them, a silent companion on the road to discovery. The sun began its descent, the sky a canvas of gold and crimson, and they rose once more, their steps carrying them towards the horizon. They were guided by the stars, those celestial beacons that had watched over humanity since time immemorial, their light a constant reminder of the beauty and complexity of the universe. As night fell, they made camp beneath an ancient oak, its branches reaching skyward as if in prayer. They built a fire, its warmth a circle of light in the gathering darkness, and sat together, the crackling flames a lullaby that soothed their souls. Alicia reached into her bag and retrieved a small, weathered book, its pages filled with the wisdom of those who had come before. She opened it, her eyes scanning the words, and began to read aloud, her voice weaving a tapestry of sound. The stories she shared were of women who had honored the stars, who had walked the path of truth and integrity. There was the tale of Selene, who had used her gift to heal, her heart attuned to the rhythms of the cosmos. Her legacy was one of compassion, her name a whispered benediction upon the lips of those she had touched. And there was Astraea, whose eyes had seen the patterns of the universe, her spirit a beacon of hope and understanding. She had sought not power, but harmony, her life a testament to the beauty of balance and the strength of love. As the night deepened, The stars emerged one by one, their light a celestial choir that sang of eternity. Alicia's voice faded into silence, but the stories lingered, their echoes a balm to the weary soul. Lyra leaned against Alicia, her presence a reassuring weight, and together they gazed up at the heavens. The stars seemed to pulse with life, their energy a bridge between worlds, a reminder that they were part of a cosmic dance that spanned the ages. In that moment, beneath the vast expanse of the sky, Alicia and Lyra knew they were exactly where they were meant to be. Their journey was one of discovery and transformation, a celebration of the bonds that unite us all. They were dreamers and seekers, storytellers and guardians, and their path was one of light and love. As sleep claimed them, the stars watched over, their light a gentle promise of new beginnings and endless possibilities. And in the embrace of the night, Alicia and Lyra found peace, their spirits entwined with the universe, their hearts beating in time with the rhythm of the stars. The dawn crept slowly over the horizon, painting the sky in shades of lavender and gold, as if the universe itself were waking from a deep and restorative slumber. Alicia and Lyra stirred beneath the canopy of celestial guardians, the morning air cool and fragrant with the promise of a new day. The world was hushed, as if holding its breath, waiting for the sun to spill its warmth over the earth and awaken all living things to their daily dance. Alicia stretched languidly, feeling the gentle pull of the earth beneath her, the solid reassurance of ground that had cradled countless generations before her. She turned to Lyra, whose eyes were still closed, a serene smile gracing her lips, as if she were dreaming of the wonder they had shared under the stars. In that moment, Alicia felt an overwhelming connection to the lineage of women who had gazed at the same stars, asked the same questions, and sought the same truths. As Lyra awoke, she blinked against the soft light of morning, her eyes finding Alicia's with an understanding that needed no words. They shared a silent acknowledgement of the journey they had embarked upon, one that transcended the physical realm and delved into the mysteries of the cosmos and the heart. Their camp was a simple one, nestled in a small clearing that now glowed with the early light. The remnants of their evening fire lay cold and gray, but the warmth of their shared stories lingered in the air. The forest around them was alive with the gentle rustle of leaves and the distant call of a bird, each sound a note in the symphony of morning. With practiced ease, Alicia and Lyra prepared a modest breakfast, savoring the familiar ritual that grounded them in the present, even as their minds danced among the stars. They spoke little, their silence a comfortable companion, punctuated only by the occasional exchange of smiles and the soft clink of utensils. As the sun climbed higher, casting dappled shadows through the trees, Alicia felt the pull of the path ahead, an invisible thread drawing her onward in their quest for understanding. The tales of the past sang to her, a chorus of voices that wove together, each adding a unique strand to the tapestry of human experience. She knew, as did Lyra, that their journey was not merely one of discovery, but of remembrance, a call to honor those who had come before them and to learn from the echoes of history. There was a particular story that had been whispering to Alicia in the quiet moments of night, a tale of the worst practices of astrology by women who, in their time, had strayed from the path of wisdom and light. It was a story fraught with lessons, cautionary tales of ambition and hubris, of desires that clouded judgment and led many astray. Alicia began to speak, her voice a gentle thread weaving through the morning air. She spoke of a time long past, of a woman named Eliana, whose name had once been synonymous with the stars themselves. Eliana had been a revered astrologer, her insights and predictions sought by kings and commoners alike. Her knowledge of the heavens was unparalleled, and many believed she could decipher the very language of the stars. But Eliana, in her quest for power and influence, had succumbed to the darker temptations of her craft. She began to manipulate her readings, bending the truth to suit her own ends, casting shadows where there should have been light. She wove intricate webs of deceit, drawing the powerful and the ambitious into her orbit, promising them glimpses of futures that she herself had orchestrated. Lyra listened intently, her eyes reflecting the light of the sun that now bathed the clearing in warmth. She could almost see Eliana, a figure shrouded in mystery, her eyes alight with knowledge but her heart clouded by ambition. The story unfolded like a tapestry, each thread revealing the intricate dance of fate and choice that had led to Eliana's downfall. Alicia spoke of how Eliana's influence grew, her court filled with those eager to gain her favor, to hear her predictions and align themselves with the destiny she painted for them. But with each whispered promise, the weight of her deception grew, casting a shadow over the light she once embodied. Her practices became known as the worst among women, a cautionary tale of how the misuse of wisdom could lead even the brightest stars to fall. The story was a mirror, reflecting the eternal struggle between light and shadow, between knowledge and the temptation to wield it for selfish ends. Alicia's voice held a note of compassion, a recognition that even in Eliana's fall there was a lesson, a reminder that the path of the seeker was not without peril. As the tale reached its conclusion, Alicia paused, allowing the silence to settle around them, a soft echo of the truths they had uncovered. Lyra sat quietly, her heart touched by the story, her mind turning over the lessons it imparted. In the quiet of the clearing, they both felt the presence of the past, the voices of those who had walked before them, guiding them with gentle hands. The sun was high in the sky now, its light casting long shadows that danced on the forest floor. Alicia and Lyra rose, their movements in harmony with the rhythm of the day, their steps guided by the invisible currents of their journey. They gathered their belongings, each item a reminder of the life they carried with them, the stories they were yet to discover. As they set off once more, the path ahead unfurling like a ribbon beneath their feet, they carried with them the wisdom of the stars and the lessons of those who had danced the cosmic dance before them. The world was wide and filled with mysteries, each step a promise of new beginnings and endless possibilities. The forest embraced them, its whispers a gentle accompaniment to their thoughts, its shadows a reminder of the balance that must be maintained. They walked side by side, their spirits entwined with the universe, their hearts beating in time with the rhythm of the stars. And in that moment, they knew that their journey was one of light and love, a celebration of the bonds that unite us all, and a reminder that even the darkest stories hold within them the seeds of redemption. The path that stretched before them was a tapestry woven with the threads of time, each strand a memory, a whisper from the ancients who once looked up at the same sky. The air was rich with the scent of earth and leaves, a perfume of life itself, mingling with the faint aroma of distant rain. The women moved with a quiet grace, their presence an echo of those who had come before, those who had sought to understand the heavens and their influence on the world below. Their journey was one not just of distance, but of introspection, a pilgrimage through the landscapes of the mind and spirit. Alongside the path, the forest stood as a guardian of secrets, its towering trees like watchful sentinels. Birds flitted from branch to branch, their songs a counterpoint to the silence of the woods, a chorus that spoke of freedom and flight. As they walked, they spoke of the past, of the women who had practiced the art of astrology with a fervor that bordered on obsession. These were not tales of gentle guidance or hopeful prophecy, but of manipulation and control, of power wielded like a weapon. There were those who had twisted the stars to suit their desires, who had used celestial alignments as tools of deception and fear. One such tale was of a woman who, centuries ago, had risen to prominence in a kingdom where the stars held sway over every decision. She was revered as a seer, her interpretations of the cosmos taken as divine edicts. But beneath her serene facade lay ambition, a hunger that devoured all in its path. She wove intricate narratives, aligning the fates of kings and commoners alike to her own purpose. The stars themselves became her accomplice, their light manipulated to obscure her true intentions. As the women recounted this story, the forest seemed to listen, its leaves rustling with a disquieting energy. The tale continued, revealing how the astrologer's power grew unchecked until it became a shadow over the realm. Her predictions, once a source of wonder, turned into chains, binding the kingdom in a web of fear and superstition. The people, once free to seek their own destinies, found themselves trapped in a cycle of dependency, their lives dictated by the movement of planets and stars. The path meandered through the trees, leading the women to a clearing bathed in dappled sunlight. Here they paused, feeling the warmth on their faces, a gentle reminder of the world beyond the shadow of that ancient tale. One of them knelt, fingers brushing the soft moss, grounding herself in the present, in the reality that was not bound by the mistakes of the past. They spoke of another woman, one whose practices had been shrouded in mystery and darkness. She was known for her ability to read the night sky with an uncanny accuracy, her predictions as precise as they were foreboding. But her methods were steeped in secrecy, her rituals conducted in the dead of night away from prying eyes. It was said she communed with the stars themselves, drawing upon their power in ways that defied understanding. Her visions, however, were not gifts freely given, but extracted at a terrible cost. She demanded tribute from those who sought her counsel, not in gold or jewels, but in something far more precious. The dreams of those who came to her became her currency, their hopes and fears woven into her own tapestry of power. Her influence spread like a shadow over the land, her name whispered with reverence and dread. The forest seemed to hold its breath as this tale unfolded, the air charged with the memory of those long-ago nights. The women, standing in that sunlit clearing, felt the weight of history upon them, the choices of those who had come before lingering like ghosts in the air. Yet they also sensed the possibility of change, the potential for redemption and renewal. Their journey continued, the path leading them deeper into the heart of the forest, where the trees stood so close that their branches formed a canopy overhead. The light here was softer, a gentle glow that filtered through the leaves, painting the world in shades of green and gold. It was a place that seemed untouched by time, a sanctuary where the past could be laid to rest and new stories could begin. As they walked, they spoke of hope, of the women who had used their knowledge of the stars not for power or control, but for healing and understanding. These were the stories that inspired, the tales of those who had seen the universe as a guide, a friend, a source of wisdom and compassion. They spoke of a woman who had once lived in a small village, her heart as open as the sky above her. She read the stars with clarity, offering comfort and counsel to those in need, her predictions a gentle light in times of darkness. Her legacy was not one of fear, but of love, her gift to the world a reminder of the connection between all living things. She taught others to read the stars for themselves, to find their own paths in the vastness of the cosmos. Her name became synonymous with kindness, her memory a beacon that shone through the ages. The women in the forest felt the warmth of this story enveloping them, a balm to the soul after the shadows of the past. They paused once more, breathing in the rich scent of the earth, feeling the pulse of life around them. It was a moment of peace, a reminder that even in the darkest tales, there is light to be found. They resumed their journey, the path ahead a promise of discovery, of stories yet to be written. The forest seemed to part for them, the trees swaying gently as if in acknowledgement of their passage. The women walked with purpose, their hearts aligned with the stars, their spirits buoyed by the stories they carried with them. As the day waned, the sky began to shift, the hues of sunset painting the horizon in brilliant shades of orange and pink. The air cooled, a whisper of night approaching, and the forest around them seemed to exhale, settling into the rhythm of evening. The women found a place to rest, a clearing where the ground was soft and inviting, the sky above a canvas of stars. They sat in silence for a time, the only sounds the gentle rustle of leaves, the distant call of night birds. The sky was a vast ocean, the stars reflected in their eyes, each one a reminder of the infinite possibilities that lay before them. In that moment, they felt the weight of history lift from their shoulders, replaced by the promise of tomorrow. And so they rested, cradled by the universe, each heartbeat a testament to the journey they had undertaken, the stories they had shared, and the hope that lay within them. For even amidst the worst of practices, the darkest of tales, there is always the potential for light, for renewal, and for the endless dance of the stars that guide us all. As the night unfolded its velvet cloak, the women felt a profound sense of connection to the world around them. The forest, now a chorus of nocturnal symphonies, seemed to sing a lullaby just for them. The gentle hum of crickets, The rustle of leaves in the breeze and the occasional hoot of an owl blended into a melody that spoke of ancient rhythms and timeless truths. Under the starlit canopy, they found themselves reflecting on the paths that had led them here. Each star above seemed to mirror a step in their journey, a reminder of the challenges faced and the courage summoned. They knew that the road ahead was as unpredictable as the constellations shifting overhead, yet the bond they shared was a beacon, a light to guide them through the unknown. And as the hours slipped by, the darkness around them grew warm and familiar, like an embrace from an old friend. In the quietude, they spoke of dreams yet to be realized, of futures they dared to imagine. Words flowed softly between them, weaving a tapestry of hope and resilience. The stories they shared were not just about the past, but were seeds of inspiration sown for the days to come. Eventually, sleep came to claim them, tender and serene. The earth was their bed, the sky their blanket, and the universe their guardian. In dreams, they danced with the stars, each step a promise of renewal, each turn a celebration of life. As dawn began to paint the sky in hues of gold and azure, the women awoke to the gentle caress of morning light. The world was reborn, glinting with dewdrops that sparkled like a sea of diamonds. They rose, ready to embrace the day, their spirits renewed and their hearts open to the possibilities that awaited. And so they continued their journey, carrying with them the lessons of the night, the whispers of the forest, and the eternal promise of the stars. In their footsteps, new stories would be written, new paths forged, and new dreams realized. For the dance of life is endless, and they were its graceful, steadfast partners. With each step forward, they felt the gentle rhythm of the earth beneath them, a silent reminder of the connection that bound them to everything around. The forest, with its ancient wisdom and timeless grace, seemed to nod approvingly as they passed, its leaves rustling softly in the morning breeze. As they walked, the women spoke of dreams yet to be fulfilled, of hopes that shimmered like distant mirages on the horizon. Their voices mingled with the songs of birds, creating a symphony that celebrated the beauty of becoming. They knew that every choice, every path taken, was a thread woven into the tapestry of their lives, each one adding depth and color to the grand design. By midday, the sun hung high in the sky, casting a warm and golden glow over the landscape. They paused by a bubbling brook, its waters clear and pure, and there they found not just refreshment for their bodies, but also a moment of reflection. In the water's surface, they saw their own reflections, not just as they were, but as they had been and as they hoped to be. The journey, they realized, was not just a physical one, but a deeply personal exploration of who they were. It was a path of self-discovery, of embracing both their strengths and vulnerabilities. And as they continued, they carried with them the knowledge that each step was a testament to their resilience and courage. As the sun began its descent, painting the sky in shades of amber and rose, they reached the edge of the forest. Before them lay a vast expanse of open fields, a new chapter waiting to be written. They paused for a moment, taking in the beauty of the world spread out before them. And then, with hearts full of hope and eyes set on the horizon, they stepped forward into the future. The forest, now behind them, whispered a gentle farewell, its ancient voice carrying a promise that no matter where their journey took them, they would always carry a piece of this place within. For the forest was not just a backdrop to their story, but a living, breathing part of it, just as they were part of its eternal dance. And so, the women moved onward, their path illuminated by the soft glow of the setting sun, their spirits intertwined with the timeless rhythm of the earth. In the dance of life, they found their place, and in each other, they found the strength to embrace whatever came next. In that moment, they knew that this was not an end, but a beautiful beginning. As they ventured into the open fields, the golden light of dusk painted the world in shades of warmth and serenity. Each step forward was a gentle promise to themselves, a vow to cherish the moments yet to come. The fields stretched endlessly, inviting them into a story they would write with courage and love, characters in a tale bound only by the horizons they dared to reach. The sky above began to weave itself into twilight, stars peeking through like old friends eager to join their journey. They walked with a grace that only those who have known both loss and joy can possess, their laughter mingling with the evening breeze, carrying with it the echoes of ancient songs. With every breath, they inhaled the possibilities that the world had to offer, and with every step, they exhaled gratitude for the paths that had led them here. The universe, vast and mysterious, watched silently, a witness to their resolve and dreams. In the quiet embrace of the universe, they found solace and strength. And as night fell, wrapping them in its gentle embrace, the women knew that they were not alone. The world was vast yet intimate, unknown yet familiar. Together, hand in hand, they walked towards a horizon that was both an end and a beginning, a promise of adventures yet to come. And thus, under the watchful gaze of 1,000 stars, they continued their journey, their hearts forever tethered to the past and the future, to the forest and the fields, to each other and the boundless sky.